Hey, how's it going everyone? So we've got another image sent in, and this one sent in by this dude here. So I'll be putting his links down in the description. If you like his style, you can go give him a follow down there. So his style is really faded, there's not much contrast, and there's a lot of warmth. So we're gonna be working with one of these ones, this one right here, trying to recreate its exact look. So let's get into Lightroom. Let's first bring up the warmth, as it's a very warm looking image, and touch of exposure. Right, so it's a very flat looking image, so it doesn't have harsh whites and it doesn't have harsh shadows and blacks. So I'm gonna bring down the contrast a bit. I'm going to add some contrast with the curves, and because I want those tones and with the colors, but the curves also add in contrast, so we need to bring this down. Right, highlights. So usually I just look at the background and sort of see how much detail there is, and highlights will always bring that detail back. Then shadows, we definitely want our shadows, they're about right. As you can see, if you look in those areas, doesn't look too bad. And the whites, bring down, and our blacks. Right. We'll just touch of clarity and a bit of dehaze. So dehaze, since it's such a, it's quite harsh sunlight, I think dehaze helps quite a bit. I don't know exactly what it's doing, but I think it just gets rid of that harsh glare of the sun. Right. We'll go with vibrance. Drop saturation. Okay, so we've really flattened out the image. We got our tones about right. We dropped the exposure values here to match the amount of detail that we can see. And we're just gonna go through the curves now. Okay, so I think that's the curves done. If I just get rid of this one, so we can see what those tone curves did. So I think this is the most basic and most common curve to do to the tone curves. So what you do is just do a bit more in the highlights, a bit more in the midtones, and take down the shadows and keep it quite far to the left. So quite deep in the shadows. Do that for each of them, and you'll know if you get it right because your image will look pretty close in terms of color how it looked before, but there's just a bit more richness to it, and you get a lot of control. So you'll know if you do it wrong if your image looks a bit like that. You've got too much green in the highlights. And yeah, if you go this way, you're pulling green out of the midtones. So when you get to that really, really advanced editing, this is sort of how you take split toning to the next level. And you can really get some unique looks with the tone curve. But yeah, that's what it is at the moment. And then with this curve, we just need needed a small fade. So if I just go back, and now we've got a curve, so that looks much better. What I might just do now, I want to add in the grain before I do colors, because it plays such a big part in this image. So need to bring down the size a bit. And the roughness. So it's pretty vintagey looking. And let's do some split toning. So you can see if you look straight in here, there's a lot of warmth to the shadows. Bring that up. But now there's a bit too much warmth to the entire image. So I'm going to put some teal or blue in the highlights. And that will also give a nice complement of colors. Okay, I think that looks alright. We've still got to dial everything in with the HSL. Where's sharpening? Take sharpening down a bit. Okay, HSL. We look pretty good at the moment. So like the reds here could be a bit more orange. The yellows, not too bad. The greens could look we'll desaturate them. Luminance. So luminance, I'm guessing, is coming up because you'll see her hair get much brighter and lose a bit of desaturation. Well, lose a bit of saturation. And same with those trees in the background, I'm guessing. So it plays a big role in this image. I'll just deepen those greens back there. Saturation of the yellows looks pretty good. Maybe touch down. Right. Let's go back up to hues. So her pants look a little too blue. We want some teals. Probably have to desaturate it too. These reds to pop way more. As you can see, they're just not popping near as much. Good. Take down these oranges. So the oranges are sort of in the skin there. A few other places, we'll just take them down a bit. Blues obviously need to come down. And we'll just take down the purples. It says affecting your pants. Just bring it down roughly with all the other ones if there's not many colors in it. So I'm thinking a touch more deepness to the reds. Of course, not doing much. Let's deepen these blues. Okay, so did we do sharpening? Yep. Grain. That's about it, guys. Looking pretty good, pretty similar there. Maybe expose her face a bit. I'll just leave it there. So yeah, you guys know you can go give them a follow down in the description. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of questions about the curves. And it's honestly quite difficult to teach, but it's what most people do is they find some curves they like from presets or something, and then they will just use those curves all the time. So they don't really use they normally don't start from scratch and do the curves every edit. They usually find one, stick with it, and then they're only adjusting all these other ones. So that's another good reason to get presets, because you'll have all these curves that can be pretty tedious to make, and someone's already figured them all out. So yeah, you guys, if you get my presets, there's a lot of great curves in there. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll try to do a video on them sometime, don't know when, but I'll just try to explain them in almost every one of these videos. But yeah, I will be catching you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. See ya.